Okay, now I'm here. Hey, Nuts and Stitches, how are ya? Knots and Stitches said, I just got home from a meeting. Less than 10 people staying about 8 feet apart and wearing masks. Well, I'm glad that the people at your meeting were doing that because the people at the meetings I would like to go to are not, so I'm not going. Was it a good meeting? A fun meeting or a necessary meeting? Time to calm down. Yeah. I did my shift at the Weaver's Cabin this evening, and we didn't have any tourists come in. I'm the only one who calls them tourists. I lived a long time in a tourist town, so to me, they're tourists. But a friend of mine came in and hung out, and that was very nice. But still, after I get home, I still need to decompress. Guess that's just, being an introvert. And yesterday, I had to go to appointments and shopping and stuff, and that just really, really, really wipes me out. And I still feel like, I need 3 or 4 more days of sleep. But I'm starting, my work week. I work, excuse me, the next 3 days. And Saturday is going to be the first day of the vendor market where they're going to have vendors have booths all over town, along the sidewalks and in parking lots and stuff. And I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it, but we'll see how it goes. No, not tomorrow. Saturday. Knots and Stitches says fun/necessary. being part of a charitable organization. Oh, well, that's cool. Hey, honey bunny. Yeah, I think a massage would be a good thing. Be be better if I had the money right this second. For I've been spending it on roving and undyed yarn and stuff, so I can dye that stuff and turn it back into money. Hopefully, Knots and Stitches says it's really strange how much of our business as usual has changed. It feels so weird. My friend and I were talking about that. She said she remembered at the beginning of the quarantine, so like, middle of March, that I had commented to her that I didn't think things were going to go back to the way they were. And I don't remember saying that, but I know that I've thought it a number of times. But yeah, I don't think we're, gonna. Everybody wants, or not everybody, but all of these people, all of these very noisy people want, businesses reopened and nobody has to wear a mask and everything just the way it used to be. I don't think anything is gonna be just the way it used to be, even after the plague is over. I don't think it's gonna go back to the old normal. Yeah, a massage would be amazing. I also miss my acupuncturist very much. But she's not doing community acupuncture right now, which is how I afford to go. And it's almost $100 to go for a private session in her office. And I just have not been able to justify that. I went in June. That was the last time. And I was used to going every week, because community acupuncture has a sliding scale. And I can do that. Yeah, I agree. A year or more. I was talking to the husband of a potter here on Twitch who they make their living doing all the big fiber festivals and stuff. And like Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival and Stitches and all that kind of stuff. And he said that they don't think they're going to be back to their usual show schedule until 2022. So next year is, a lot of people who are really looking at the realities of it think next year's a wash as well. Hi, Fiber Mage. How are you? How is stuff going? Not since it just said I'm thinking it'll be 2022 or later. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. How's stuff, Fiber Mage? Fibermate says I could really use some prayers. Anything in particular or just everything? Everything, yeah. Well, I'll do what I can. Because every little bit helps, right? Yeah, I am thinking that. Oh, you're welcome, honey. Um, I am coming to the realization that all of the stress of all of this, however many months, is I'm just exhausted. I haven't been getting sick. I mean, I don't feel good, but when I say I don't feel good, that's very different from when I say I'm sick. Because when I'm sick is, like COVID or bronchitis or something. When I don't feel well, that's just my body. My joints, my connective tissue, everything hurts. Can't walk. Um, I'm just exhausted. Even when I'm getting enough sleep, I'm still exhausted. And I'd almost be thankful for another quarantine just so I could sleep for a week and not have to set the alarm. I treasure days that I don't have to set the alarm. And I think every day this week. Now maybe Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday I didn't have to. But I had to get up early Monday when I don't usually do anything on Monday. Had to get up early. Was gone all day. We worked 7 hours on that library and it was fun, but and a lot of people don't get that. Just because it's fun doesn't mean that it's not, and I know you guys get it. Just because something's fun doesn't mean that it's not exhausting, that it's not emotionally exhausting. And in many cases, physically exhausting too. Knots and Stitches said there's run down, don't feel good, and then there's a sick illness. Exactly. Sick is something that you caught, whether it's bacterial or a virus, and it's going to run its course and it's going to go away. Don't feel good that's just the story of my life. And there are things that I can do that help, but, it doesn't go away. And a lot of people don't get that stress and not getting enough sleep and all of these sorts of things, the people who have anxiety or people who are dealing with childhood trauma or whatever. Lots of people are dealing with trauma where it's not any trauma that that affects our physical health too. I've been on a TED Talk kick, and I stumbled across one. There was Jim Donovan, so it caught my interest. He's a drummer, and he was one of the original members of a group called Rusted Root. I think that they were popular in the 90s, and they were from Pittsburgh. They had all met going to one of the big universities in Pittsburgh, and they formed this group where they had vocals and drumming. And hi, Bum and Maid. And even if you've never heard of them, if you've ever seen the first Ice Age movie, there's a song called Send Me On My Way, which when the guy is singing it sounds like Send Me On My Way. Doesn't sound like he's speaking English. But that song has been used in a bunch of movies, and it was used in the first Ice Age. The not cartoon, computer animated kind of thing. Um, and he's a professor, an assistant professor at some university now. And he travels all over the place doing drumming workshops, like that African drumming. And does these workshops where he teaches drumming, but it's also about meditation and spiritual growth and stuff. And he's very sought after. And he has done some here in town. And we hosted one at the gallery where I work, and my boss couldn't be there and ask me, if I would be there to, open the door and hang out and then close up when they were done. And so I wasn't participating, but I was there, and it was amazing. And so anyway, I stumbled across him doing this TED Talk, and he wasn't the best speaker I've ever heard in a TED Talk, but the stuff that he talked about really sort of, grabbed a hold of me. And he was talking about how, on this particular occasion, he ended up in the ER having what appeared to be a heart attack and being way too young for, that sort of thing. And being afraid his wife didn't know where he was, and what if he never saw his wife and his children again, and all of this stuff. And turned out he was having an anxiety attack. And so they kept him overnight, I guess, if I remember correctly. And he eventually, this doctor came in, and they were talking, and the doctor was asking him, well, how much sleep do you get? And they went on to and Jim's like, well, not much. And so then the talk was about how to trick your brain into sleeping. And but he talked about how some of the things this doctor said was things that lack of sleep, which is huge for me, and I know for many people, some of the various physical health problems it can cause, weight gain, insomnia. Insomnia, sleep deprivation. Those are the words I was looking for. But ultimately can cause death. Sleep deprivation can cause death. And in our culture, most people don't sleep enough. Like how many people do you know who sleep 4-5 hours a night? And over the weekends when I'm working, I often just catch 4 or 5 hours. Sometimes I can come home and take a nap, but not always. But then, so he was talking about a rhythm exercise that he started doing, because people, when they take his drumming workshops, talk about how relaxing it is. So he started, just as he was going to bed, just patting out this rhythm, with his hands just on his legs. And then, for a certain length of time, and then he'd slow it down a little bit. And after a certain length of time, slow it down again. And he realized then that he was dozing off. And so now, when he has trouble sleeping, he does that. And so anyway, I was just thinking about that because I've been thinking so much about how stressed I am, and how there's this undercurrent of anxiety. Like, I'm not having anxiety attacks, but there's this undercurrent of anxiety. And even during it's usually on the weekends, when I have to work in the morning, so I need to get to sleep earlier, I can't sleep. The rest of the week, I could sleep 12 hours a day if I didn't have to set the alarm for something. But during the quarantine, when I had no obligations, no responsibilities, nowhere to go, I couldn't sleep. I'd toss and turn in bed for like 4 hours, and then sleep for maybe 4 hours, And and then as soon as I had to go back to work, then I could sleep again. I thought, what the hell is that all about? But it was the anxiety. There was so much hanging in the unknown when we were on lockdown. But like I said a little while ago, I'd almost be thankful for another lockdown so I didn't have any responsibilities and I could just sleep. Hey, Veggie. I think I already said, hey, Bowman Maid. Fiber Maid said, yesterday I was doing okay, but today I just didn't feel like myself. I'm coming off a major episode anxiety attack. Now I'm more tired than I was. My face is all puffy and my nose is runny. I just want to be numb for a little bit. I hear you. I hear you. Knots and Stitches said, okay, I've washed my face and put on my comfy clothes. Veggie says, the aftermath of anxiety sucks. I wouldn't know about the aftermath. Mine it just is continuous. There is no place where it stops to have, because I don't have like a full-blown anxiety attack. I just have this undercurrent of anxiety. And I've had it my whole life. When I was in massage school, one of my instructors was using me for a demonstration. So I'm on the massage table and I'm getting a massage and, just about drooling. And she's like working on my hands and she said, are you aware that you hold tension in your thumbs? She's like, the whole rest of you is a noodle, but you're holding tension in your thumbs. And I'm like, what? But I do. It's like my secret place where I stuff all the tension, when I'm being forced to be relaxed. But yeah, I need a massage and some acupuncture. And like 3 days in a row when I don't have to set the alarm. But it was very nice seeing my friend. They came to hang out with me at the Weaver's cabin today. Yeah, it was like we were comparing notes on, I hesitate to call it gossiping, but we were kind of gossiping. We were comparing notes on several other friends, local friends, and how the coronavirus and the protests and the whoever whatever all this crap is, people are really showing their true selves. And it's like, well, I wouldn't want to say that I don't consider that particular person a friend anymore, but I don't trust them with my feelings the way I used to. Hi, honey.
Hey.
2 of those boxes were mine.
Okay.
This is yarn and wool.
Alright, I wasn't sure if it was my shoes and one of them or not.
No, Amazon says those are not going to be till a while yet.
Alright, I know, I'm still keeping an eye out though, because those books were supposed to take up to 2 months and they came within like.
Yeah, sometimes stuff comes faster than it's supposed to. Love you. Yeah. Okay. I got some stuff today. You may have just heard me say, I got some stuff. Is this cool? And it's not, there's obviously a lot of barber pulling, but it's not what I would call a marled yarn, because it's like they just put little blips of black in the singles, but there are lots and lots of spaces where it's all white. And so I think that's going to be fun. I have to think about what colorways I think are going to work well on that. And then I ordered some of that Dorset Polypay that I had seen several streamers talk about it from RH, is it Reynolds? Anyway, Um, it's not the softest wool in the world. And Dorset's not. I don't know much about Polypay, but Dorset's a meat breed. But it's soft-ish, and it's very springy. And I think it's softer than that Corriedale. I think it's softer than these. I'm not sure. I have to see how it is spun up. But it does have some VM in it. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there you can see. It's got some VM in it, but I think it'll be easy to pick out. But I got a pound of it to try it out. And then this evening I was divvying it up into 4-ounce portions. And I don't know what I was doing, but I ended up with 5. So they're all like 3 point something ounces. So I don't know if you, I mean, would you like buy a braid of roping that was less than 4 ounces? If it was like, say, 3 point, whatever? Or should I just spin it all up and use it myself? I don't know. Fibermaid says, yesterday I was doing okay. Oh, what? I already read that. Where are we? And then Fibermaid said, now I'm laying in bed in the dark, listening to your voice. It's soothing. Well, thank you. Somebody else said that. I don't remember who, but somebody a while ago said they like to hang out here because my voice was soothing. Even when I get on a rant. Knots and Stitches said I typically have moderate anxiety levels, but there are certain circumstances that push me into high alert, full-blown fight or flight mode. And when I'm focused into extended periods of high anxiety, I turn into a massive bitch. Kind of like a cornered animal. Exactly like a cornered animal. That's exactly what that mechanism is. It takes days to weeks for me to come back from that. Yeah. Massages are a good thing, and I know, that's an expense that a lot of us can't really manage. But, massages or yoga, even if you can find somebody, a friend or loved one who will just rub your neck and shoulders, or somebody you can lay down and somebody will just lay their hand on you and just sit by you with their hand on you. That'll help balance out your energy, even if they don't know what they're doing. Just sit there with their hand on you for as long as they can sit there and do it. Bama Maid said, I've been known to buy off-size braids. I think that's supposed to be either, right? Over or under 4 ounces. Okay, so maybe I will. I'm going to spin up one of them because when I get this bobbin done, I'm going to spin up one. So I like this. I like this zebra stuff. I like it a lot. I don't know if I would use it undyed, but I think it'll be fun. In various colorways. And I did find there's a supplier that Birding Mom mentioned a couple of days ago, and they have a marled yarn. Auto Carrot got ya. They have a marled yarn that's a real marled yarn. It's like 2 plies of like a light to medium gray and 2 plies of white. And I'm gonna probably have to get some of that too. In the years that I worked at Girl Scout camp, these sweaters were very popular amongst the staff that were called rag wool. But I think that they were 3 ply, like it was 2 plies of white or undyed and 1 ply of gray. But then they sort of went out of popularity. Knots and Stitches says, getting lots of dropped frames buffering. Okay. My frame rate from my computer's point of view looks good. Have you tried refreshing? Let me look and see on I don't see anything on my end. Doesn't mean that there's not, but the places that I know where to check, I don't see anything. Huh. Anybody else getting drop frames or buffering? Yeah, sometimes the internet's just being an idiot. And Knots and Stitches says Twitch may be Twitch. Yes, sometimes Twitch is twitchy. Hey, Birding Mom, how are you? Did you see? Did you see? I got the zebra yarn. I'm very happy. Now, the zebra yarn is not superwash. It is the Peruvian Highland, and is not superwash. Okay, so I'm just sitting here squeezing. The Peruvian Highland is softer than the Dorset Polypay. The Dorset Polypay might very well be softer than the Cordale, but I'm not sure. But I'm thinking that the Dorset Polypay will be really, really good for like mittens. Birdie Mom says, just got here, but I'll let you know. Bama Maid says, okay, dye talk. What are your thoughts on mixing radioactive to get different, preferably darker shades of green? I think that there's a lot you could do to get darker shades of green with radioactive. And if you're meaning because it's, I was going to say photosensitive. That's not the word I want. I make my most of my blends are made out of dyes that are fluorescent. So the fluorescent aspect of it shouldn't make any difference. I would say to get. Are you asking how would you go about getting? I would think so because my yarns, even after blended, they still fluoresce. I don't think I've mixed radioactive with anything, but my my fuchsia and my yellow and my, what is it? Magenta, cyan, magenta, yellow, black blends. My magenta and my yellow are fluorescent, and you still get some fluorescing in the blends. But try it. Nuts and Stitches says, I switched devices, still buffering. Well, crap. Yeah, maybe just something in the internet's somewhere between me and you. So says, I'm just going to say goodnight. Okay, well, hopefully we'll see you again soon. I'll be back Sunday night. And hopefully things will work better. To get darker greens with it, I would maybe experiment by mixing in some blues and some black. Birding Mom says, I have a weekender on the needles in zebra. Is it, are you using the zebra naked or did you dye it? Birding Mom says, good night, Knots and Stitches. I had a lot of issues a few days ago when the winds were high and my internet is blipping. Birding Mom, are your skies orange where you are? My friend who lives in Corvallis, Oregon, has been saying that the air quality where she is really bad. Bauman Mate said I have a couple more blank skeins. I might need to rig up a jar system and make a stripy yarn. You know, I guess I had not watched any Chemnitz videos in quite a long time. You guys got me all sucked in. I think it's mostly Birding Mom's fault because of the dyer supplier videos. But it was interesting watching her do self-striping yarn in the jars, and because see, I had always thought that I would wind the skein off the same way that she did, but that I would apply the dye directly and then wrap it all up and steam it. But she did it in jars. Although if I was going to do it in jars like that, I'd only be able to do one skein at a time, and that's not very efficient. But Birding Mom says, naked. I wear a ton of black, and I just love that black on the off-white. Yeah, it's very striking. And I'm not sure it'll work for every colorway, but I think it's going to be fun. And I was also saying that Dyer Supplier has a true marled sock yarn, and I might have to get some of that too. Oh, I also got 3 pounds of Rambouillet roving. That might be for me. We'll see. And if I like it, I'll get some more to dye and sew. Birding Mom said, oh wait, I missed one. Bumma Maid said she has a few stripes, and with jars I can fit quite a few in the steam pan for water bath. Yeah. See, I would just be using a canner. I wouldn't be able to fit as many. And I don't know if I want to give up that many pint jars to the dyeing process, because pint canning jars are like unicorns around here. Birding Mom said no orange yet. We are supposed to get a huge cloud of bad air over the next few days. My friends in the Bay Area were posting pics too. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of orange pictures have come across my Facebook today. Bama May said canner would work, but it's deep. Steamer is shallow and makes reaching and seeing it. Yes. Yeah, but I don't have one. But I think the hand painting it would work too. And then I could do a bunch of them and just steam them in the oven or whatever. I still haven't perfected the steaming in the oven thing though. I didn't get complete exhaust. Baba Maid says, tell Honey Bunny to mysteriously lose one steam pan from work. Yeah, it's mysterious. There is a, what's it called? There's a restaurant supply place about 45 minutes from us that is open to the public. That I can't think of the name, but I think it's a regional thing anyway, so most of you would probably never have heard of it. But next time I get down that way, it might be worth looking. But see, if I just put one, now if I put it in the oven, I could get relatively even heat. If I put it on top of the stove, I'm not going to get even heat because the burners aren't the same size that are next to each other. Now, when you're steaming your stuff in there, are you using, are you sticking it in the oven? And she asked, can you use aluminum pans with acid dyes? I don't. I use stainless steel. But if it's in jars, it wouldn't matter. I liked it. Did you see when Boss Kitty did like a week's worth of dyeing streams during the quarantine? She's got some roasters that are rectangular. You know, I have the old-fashioned graniteware roasters. You know, we have a big one and a bigger one that we, use for turkeys and corned beef and stuff. But they're oval. I have made the assumption that you shouldn't. So whether you can, I don't know. And yeah, you absolutely can't for soaps because, yeah, bad. I don't think it's not like it wouldn't be a chemical reaction thing. It would be that it might affect the color that you get. So you're supposed to use non-reactive pans for dyeing. So stainless steel is the best bet. And if I'm dyeing a small amount of something in the microwave, sometimes I use empty yogurt containers, cottage cheese containers, that sort of plastic, that when it starts getting funky, I can just, toss it. Because I'm of the assumption I probably shouldn't recycle them with, dye residue and stuff in them. Mama Maid said I had made the same assumption, so wasn't sure. Birdie Mom said, my friends get a lot of their pans at Goodwill or other thrift stores or garage sales. I look for those sorts of things at Goodwill all the time and have not yet. Now I find some cool things in the kitchenwares section of Goodwill, but I haven't found anything suitable for dyeing in garage sales. Yeah, I don't Um, I don't stumble across a lot of garage sales. Bama Maid said, for your question, I've only steamed in the oven that one time. I did not get a full exhaust and probably won't do it again. I think I need to raise the temperature some and leave it longer, because I saw someone on the internet do 20 minutes at like 200 degrees. And I think I need to just use a higher temperature. Maybe a longer amount of time. Bookworm lover, hello. Says again, I am not early. When exactly are you on? I aim for 11, and I was right about on time tonight. 11 p.m. Eastern time. So we've been going not quite an hour tonight. 47 minutes and 35 seconds according to Streamlabs. Bama Maid said, I usually put that steamer on the grill and use that for heat. It's good and even on the flat top, but gotta have propane. Yeah, I'll see, all of our grills are charcoal grills. Now, Housemate has a propane flat top griddle that's like the flat top in a restaurant. But I don't think he'd let me do dying on that. Bookworm Lover said, I have a juniper berries tree in the park next to my house, and I've been saving berries and bark. And I want to get different color teas to dye once I get fabric and yarn. Cool. You can now I've dyed wool with tea, just plain old regular tea bags, with different mordants, like aluminum and tin and copper and chrome and I don't know what all. I'm not sure it's easy to get all of those mordants anymore because they're heavy metals. Back in the 70s when I was in college, oh yeah, we'll sell you that. Go down to the hardware store. And you can tea dye cotton, but you're not really dyeing it, you're staining it. But it still works. It's just, it's being persnickety about words. Says, I'm focusing first on increasing my yarn stash before I get into dyeing. That sounds like a plan. Bama Maid said, I did 225 to make sure it was above boiling for the water. No exhaust after 30-minute check. No exhaust after another 30. Turned it off after that and left it overnight, and it still wasn't fully. Now, what color wasn't exhausting? Was it something in particular? Because I have trouble with turquoise and with magenta, because those are typically, so you might have needed more acid. But still, those are notoriously harder to exhaust. She says, I get full exhaust when I kettle dye using my crock pot and when I use the flat top. The Lanisette black specifically. Yeah, and that's so funny because I haven't had trouble with that color. I get full exhaust when I steam in the microwave. I'm just nervous to do it after I crispy toasted that skein of sock yarn. Bookworm Lover said, my parents got me a huge haul from some Goodwills that are in a more well-endowed city monetarily. Yeah, the Goodwill closest to me is in a little bit of a snooty area. It's not where I live, but it's the nearest one. And things there, you find a lot of nice things there, but the prices tend to be kind of high. But yeah, a friend of mine in particular, because she goes in all the time, finds some good stuff. Birding Mom said you probably should have added more acid after the first check. That's what I'm wondering about too. Is that maybe it needed more acid? See, and I tend to be a little heavy on the acid, and I need to be careful about that if I'm thinking I might dye some sparkle yarn. Although Chemnitz sounded like she thinks it's just citric acid that dulls the sparkle. I was thinking that it was acid at all. So I may try lemon juice with the sparkle yarn just to see, because I can't be tolerating any of that vinegar. Richard calls pickled sheep. Are you pickling sheep today? Mama Maid said it was all wrapped in plastic. To add acid to that, I would have had to unwrap everything and then soak it. Oh, yeah, well, that would have been a pain in the butt. Bookworm Lover says, so what can you use for mordant foil? No, you use they're like metal salts. Like you can buy alum well, you used to be able to. Geez, I don't know if you even still can. People used to use alum when they made pickles to make the pickles crispy. And it's basically an aluminum salt. You probably would have to order... Well, you can use vinegar as a mordant. I haven't ever used it with wool. Or, no, I mean for like natural dyes. Of course I've used it for wool. Haven't used it with natural dyes, so I'm not sure what that would do. Birding Mom says Chemnitz is pretty liberal with the vinegar. I got that impression. But see, you have to be careful with that because beyond a certain point, beyond a certain percentage, the vinegar can actually change the colors of the results of the dye. Mama Maid said, I think I overcooked my sparkle yarn in the crock pot that time. That's the only time I've lost the sparkles. And, and that makes sense because it's like Mylar, and it seems like too much heat and too much acid, it seems like both of those could affect the sparkle or dull it. Bookworm Lover said, oh, I have that. Well, you're on your way then. There are lots of instructions on the internet. If you can't find, I would check the library and see if you can find any books on natural dyeing. But if you can't, there's probably all kinds of stuff on the internet that'll tell you how to mordant your yarn. And it needs to be protein fiber for many, many natural dyes. Although you can use indigo on cotton, but unless you grew that specifically, you're not likely to be able to gather indigo in the wild, as far as I know. Well, vinegar is an acid. That's the nature of it. It's acidic, and could be considered a mordant. See, acid dyes for protein fibers require an acid environment for the dye to strike and become one with the fiber. But cellulose fibers require an alkaline environment. So for like wool and other hair fibers, protein fibers, you can use vinegar or citric acid or lemon juice, although lemon juice isn't really cost effective. But I've used it with good results when I didn't have citric acid. And then for, like, if you're dyeing cellulose fibers like cotton or linen or anything else that's cellulose, you use a fiber reactive dye and you use an alkaline environment. So usually you'll treat the fiber with soda ash is what's commonly used, like tie dyers use. Any place that sells tie dye stuff will sell soda ash. But I get it at a pool place, for a swimming pool place. The Fiber Mage said, does anyone know the name of the yardage counter app that uses the magnet? I do not. I would be curious about that as well. Birding Mom said, and it stinks. I have yarn we dyed in a class with vinegar, and I've washed it twice, and it probably could use a third. Yeah, I find that it takes a lot of washing, and then even once it's dry, just letting it air out. There's one particular indie dyer whose stuff I love, but you take it out of the plastic package and it about gags me. But once it's been out in the air, out of the bag and in the air for a while, then I don't notice it unless I stick my face in it. Bookworm Lover said, one of these days I want to get a bunch of cabbage and then just boil to death and get as much color, and then use the cooked cabbage to make sauerkraut. Well, usually you use raw cabbage to make sauerkraut. Are you talking about purple cabbage? Because I'm not sure if that color would be fast. I don't know if it would stay in the yarn or fabric. But I'd be interested in seeing your results if you experiment with it. Bama Maid is looking for the app. Bookworm Lover said, I want to get some of the big cones of cream yarn and then over dye. Are you talking about wool yarn or like the peaches and cream or sugar and cream? Yeah, that's cotton. So you're gonna need to use dyes that'll work for cotton. And tea will work, like plain old tea bags. But yeah, experiment away and let us know how it goes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so then like if you use the purple cabbage, you can change it from using acids or alkalins, you can change it from pink to blue. But fugitive, that's the word I was looking for. It won't stay. I did a beautiful dye with I was pokeberries in college. It was beautiful and faded really fast. Just faded to nothing. Bookworm Lover said, I just had a nice cranberry apple tea that was a gorgeous color. Well, try it. Try it and see what kind of results you get. Birding Mom said, I get the warmest brown with Lipton and it stains beautifully and doesn't fade. I needed a t-shirt that is somewhere in the tan to brown range for the first time that I spun on the sheep to shawl team, and didn't have one and wasn't going to be able to get to the store, and so I just tea-dyed a white t-shirt I already had, but it kept floating up above the surface, and so I left a fork in the pan to poke it down because it was a small pan. I just wadded it up in there because I didn't care if it was dyed evenly. And I wasn't thinking about stainless steel having iron in it. And so I got like a black spot where the fork touched. It was weird, because I think about stainless steel being non-reactive. But with the tea, for some reason, the tea turned black on the fabric where the fork had touched. Bookworm Lover said that's when you use the yarn to make a pillow. And never have need to wash because it stays as a decorative piece. Well, but it wasn't. It was sunlight that caused this one to fade. Some will fade from laundering, and some will just fade from sunlight. But it's really fun to experiment and see what happens. Bama Maid asks, Fiber Mage, do you use Apple or would you be using your iPad? Fiber Major, I was just going to say, or did you doze off? Oh, Apple iPad. Well, that's no help to me. Oh, I don't have anything. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's correct. Eventually, it will be a 2-ply worsted weight. The fiber is, actually, that's a lie. I didn't change those tonight. This is Polworth and silk, which is why it seems like almost like it glows from the light on it, is because of the sheen of the silk. It is lovely. And it will also, when I dye it, will take the dye in a lovely way, because silk dyes beautifully. And silk is an outlier because you can dye silk in either an acid environment with acid dyes or an alkaline environment with fiber reactive dyes. Bama Maid said, I put it in the Discord in the spinning section. Okay, cool. I'll go look at it and see if maybe I can find it for what is it that I have? Android. I'm so tired. I've been saying that a lot lately. You know, and it's so sad. I look in the mirror and my eyes look so tired. Oh, in Fiber Maid's Discord. Well, I can go look there too. And that, you know, since she asked, that would be the logical place to put it. Uncreative! Hello! How are you? No, I'm having some caffeine and it's not helping. Bama Maid said, I don't know if that one has an Android app, but looking up a magnetic turns counter should find one for you. And then I just have to figure out how the heck to use it. Bookworm Lover says, so what's everybody working on tonight? I am working on trying to finish this. I still have this much left. I was going to do some more plying tonight, but then I got the roving in the mail and thought, well, I should finish off this bobbin and then spin some of the Dorset Polypay. See what I think of it. Like I said, I think it'll be good for mittens. Maybe outerwear. Definitely, I wouldn't put it against my skin. I don't think. Except for, you know, like soccer mittens, but not like a sweater that was not going to have something under it. Uncreative says, I am alive. I think that's, yeah, we're kind of all in that place, aren't we? What have you been doing? Been busy? Bama May said, I just didn't want you looking and then thinking you're going nuts not finding it. Because I would have. And Bama Maid said, but the one I posted in Fiber Mage's Discord is one I've seen in action. A bookworm lover says, does plying count towards tour spin? Yes. Um, well, it might depend on your team, on the Twitch team. I'm pretty sure plying counts. Bomb and Maid? Uncreative says, I got fired from my job last week. Yesterday I did a COVID test before starting a new job and generally fighting off depression. Oh, man. So do you have a new job lined up, and so that's why you needed to take the COVID test? Yeah, we were talking earlier about all of the anxiety. Obama Maid said, it's an informal 2.0, so sure. So yeah, go ahead and count your. I don't think anybody's on our team is following any kind of rules on this particular section of the TDF. I didn't set any goals. I wasn't going to do it, but I succumbed to peer pressure. But I didn't set any rules. I'm not taking any pictures. I'm not posting in any threads. I'm just showing up on stream and spinning. Uncreative said, yeah, I start next week, but I don't know how long this job is going to be for. Well, but it'll be a job for now. And that's better than no job. Yeah, Obama Maid said, I hope everything works out okay. Yep, we've all got your back. And if you need to complain or whine or anything, feel free. And Bookworm Lover says, keep positive. Yeah, yep. A job, even a short-term job, is better than no job. Uncreative said, yeah, it's in film and television, so the pay is really good. But it's a very touch-and-go situation. Oh. Bomba Maid said, I'm not doing this one seriously, to be honest. I have one braid broken down for the spindle, and I'm determined to work on that at least a little each day. To work through, to get through it. Other than that, and I'm either spinning or plying every night on stream, but and I took my ply on the fly project to the weaver's cabin today and worked on that a little bit. I figure I'm going to be working on those 5 ounces for a really long time. So, and then I'll make something for myself, because there's no way I could spindle spin it for that long and then knit something and make any kind of a profit on it. I haven't even gone to look in the TDF thread. Are people, posting and stuff? Are there pictures? Bama Maid said, oh yeah, this 4-ounce braid is going to take forever. Bookworm Lover said, it's nice to treat yourself to homemade goods every now and then. Though it is, and I don't do it very often. I have always allowed myself hand spun socks, or even just hand knit socks, but not much beyond that. Everything else is either for gifts or for sale. Excuse me, good grief. Bomba Maid said, yep, there are a few, And I believe JK is hosting a fall make-along. I haven't been catching her stream very often, but she streams on the weekend, doesn't she? Maybe I'll catch her at work tomorrow or this weekend. Bookworm Lover asks if I'm spinning currently a lace weight yarn. No, it'll be about a sport weight once it's plied. And often once a yarn is a hand spun yarn is dyed, it'll fluff up some. Oh, geez. Pardon all the yawning. Bauman Maid said she's going to be adjusting her stream time to during the week, so you might catch her more often. She's just got to get stuff done around the house and in the craft room first. It seems like usually when I catch her, it's when I'm at work. But I couldn't remember if I was just like catching her on Fridays or if she was on the weekend as well. Bookworm Lover asks how many people are to a spinning team. Well, like for Twitch or for Tour de Fleece, I don't think it matters. But if you mean like on my sheep to shawl team, we have 3 spinners. 3 spinners and a weaver. And sometimes somebody to card or comb. But it depends on the competition. For Tour de Fleece, I think it's up to the individual team. When there used to be Spinzilla, so you could have up to a certain number for that because that was more of a competition. Bauman Maid said, and her fall make-along is anything fall themed, September 15th through November 25th. Bookworm Lover asked, does making yarn into products count as goals? For Tour de Fleece, I don't believe so. And for the official Tour de Fleece and the official rules, I'm not sure that plying does count. But now I can't remember. Because I'm so tired. Okay, Bauman Maid said it depends on the teams what counts for TDF. Now somebody told me, and it might have been you, Bauman Maid, that on one of the TDF teams, that as long as, because for Tour de Fleece, the basic idea is that you spin every day that the riders ride in the race, in the Tour de France. And then you can take a day off on the days that they have off. And then the teams, if I understand correctly, set up their own rules, and you're kind of expected to challenge yourself on the days that are the challenge days for the riders. But a lot of people will set goals, like I'm gonna spin this many thousands of yards during the tour, or I have this, big bag with like 2.5 pounds of wool roving in it, and I'm going to spin all of this, or whatever. But somebody told me, and it might have been Bauman Maid, that there was one of the teams that said that just being in the same room with a spinning wheel counted for spinning on any given day. I thought, well, that's easy. I got spinning wheels all over my house. there is a Tour de Fleece group on Ravelry that if you're a Ravelry person, probably has a lot of the information. And some teams give out prizes for different things to their participants, and oh, Bum and Maid, I got some reading done today. Daniel got out of the stadium and the Pixie switched sides. So that's where I am. I'm still way behind everybody else, though. Bookworm Lover said, so you said no specific goals, but anything non-concrete in mind for what you'd like to accomplish? No. I need yarn because I need inventory because we're coming into the, we're coming into what is typically my busy season, for sales at my local venues. And I don't know how that's going to go this year, but I need yarn to knit. You know, it's like I sell a lot of fingerless mitts and mittens and hats and a lot of hand woven scarves, and I didn't get a lot done this year. So I need to kind of haul ass right now. So that's what most of this yarn will be used for. It'll anything that's not already dyed will be dyed and will be knit into fingerless mitts, kid mittens, and hats mostly. But the finer and more luxury-ish stuff like this will probably be woven into scarves. Bama Maid said, okay, you got through the train wreck. Okay, so the stress level evens out a little bit from now on. Train wreck, literally, almost, right? Mine are more tubes, but I'll do a little bit of finger if people want them. Hardly anybody ever asks, though. Most of my, I don't think, yeah, so I don't have the, I don't have the ends woven. Oh, nope, that was the correct one. Most of my fingerless mitts are these. Can't see the whole thing. There. That's and that's what sells the best for me. But every once in a great while, somebody will want me to make the thumb a little longer, and once in a very blue moon, somebody will ask for partial fingers. Baba Maid said, for me personally, that was the worst of it. Granted, the whole book is a little close to home given the current pandemic. Yes. But at least I can still eat tomatoes. That would be a rough one for me because tomatoes and I are very good friends. Bookworm Lover says, such a pretty lace design. Thank you. That's my own fingerless mitt pattern that I just sort of randomly came up with probably 12 or 15 years ago. and people liked it. So, and I've probably sold, well, I know I've sold hundreds. I've maybe sold thousands over the years. Bama Maid said, I may have also used a Deadpool meme in reference to the end of that book today. Should I continue to assume that I should finish the book before I go look in the thread? And for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, Dorkalicious Fibers is doing a read along on her Discord for a book series that I had not read yet. And so I'm participating, but I am not keeping up. It's just been busy enough that I haven't had the amount of time I normally would dive into a book. Yes, Bauman Maid said The Hollow series by Kim Harrison. Bookworm Lover said, I want to get the Princess Bride book. I have never read that. I've seen the movie 100 million bazillion times. Bauman Maid said, I've actually slowed down and am waiting for y'all to catch up. Ha ha ha. Pun fully intended. Bookworm Lover said, I can quote the movie but never read the book. Yes. Yeah, me too. Burning Mom says, I love the book and the movie, but yes, you read it with the movie actors' voices for the characters. I absolutely would. I absolutely would. Bookworm Lover said, LOL, isn't it funny once you get to know a series' characters, they have their own distinct voice in your head while you read? Yup. Bomba Mate said, you might just need to avoid that Discord altogether. I wish I knew how to tag post as spoilers. Would come in handy there because you haven't read any of those series. Yeah. This is a completely new author for me. Bomba Mate said, and talking about the turn, when you're reading through Dead Witch Walking or The Good, the Bad, and the Undead, you reference all of it. Yeah. Yeah, and I know absolutely nothing about what they're talking about. Bookworm Lover said, I'm one of those people that if once I got a question that is a spoiler, I don't mind. I usually don't mind spoilers, but this is going to be a really, really long series. And so I don't want to know too much about what's going on going into it. One of the things I like about Orrin Hadley's fan group on Facebook is usually if somebody asks a question that, like, in the last day or two, somebody asked, so was Tyr ever going to get with Sal? The responses are always, read the book. Just read the book. We're not going to tell you. Baba Mate said, and scrolling through movies and seeing Clint Eastwood titles now makes me giggle because her titles are plays on those movies. Yeah. That's why those all sound like I should know them. Okay, now I'm going to hear the theme from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly whenever you talk about that book. I don't know if I'd say I'm a Western gal, but I've seen a lot of Westerns. I grew up in the 60s and 70s when Westerns were like the thing. So I've seen lots of them. Bama Maid said, almost watched The Deadpool, but I'm not reading The Undead Pool yet, so it felt wrong. Okay, so here's a question that I don't think is spoilery, but maybe. So these characters in the turn, are they in the rest of the series? Or are they just setting the stage for things in the future? Bama Maid said, I'm not a Western girl at all, but I like a good play on words. Dork, hi Dork. Dork says the turn was just a quick write to make more money because she knew Hollows fans would buy it. Well, it's my introduction to the series, so. Bomba Maid said, I almost didn't pick this series up because I thought they were weird Clint Eastwood spoofs. Then my dad said he got the first one because that's exactly what he thought it was. And it was good, but not at all like the Westerns. Bama Maid says to Dork, it's hard talking about it because she hasn't read any of it aside from where she is in the turn. Yeah, like I said, the turn is my introduction to this series. I'm always torn between reading things in the order they were written or in their chronological order, the order of the events taking place. And for whatever reason with this one, I thought since this is the prologue, I should probably start there. Bookworm said, I am a very big crier. I hate when an author is so good at writing a character you come to love and get them in love or good friends and have them die. Worst roller coaster ever. Well, then if you ever decide to read Rise of the Illyri by Orrin Hadley, let me take a moment to warn you about Book 5. Book 5 will, rip your guts out. But it's important to the story. It's very important. The whole rest of the arc couldn't happen if the crying thing in that book didn't happen. Bama Maid said, as far as I know, only 2 characters named in the turn reach the rest of the series. That's not really spoilery. Okay. And I have a feeling this is how you were while I was reading the Illyri. Uh-huh. Dork says more than 2 reach the series. Bama Maid says, shh. Well, if it's quiet at work tomorrow, which, I can never count on, but sometimes it is, and if it is, I may be able to finish this book. Bama Maid says, long lived Interlanders, ruining my counting. Bookworm Lover says, LOL, the knowing sideways glance. Uh-huh. Bama Maid said, because as soon as she said that, more popped into my slowing brain. Bookworm Lover said, how much more of this roving to spin? This much. Oh, no. Nope. Just this. Just I'll fill up this bobbin. Bookworm Lover says, personally, I like period romances. Well, Rise of the Illyria is sort of a period romance. With a sci-fantasy sort of twist on another planet where Earth colonized 3,000 years ago. But there's no electricity. And there's an indigenous species that the humans who colonized there genetically modified. Bookworm Lover says, Victorian colonial small town Montana ranch. Burning Mom says, LOL, I'm a cat mystery person. Just was at the massive used bookstore today getting more. Bumma Maid said, sounds like Harlequin. Well, you know, I thought like 20 years ago, a friend who was into Harlequin romances handed me a copy of Outlander and said, read this. And I read it, and it was good, but, you know, I put it in that category of romance stuff that Mary likes. Even though it had that little bit of a sci-fi twist because of the, you know, time travel and stuff. And I was really surprised when I found out that there was more than just the one book, and it was on television. And everybody was having hissy fits over it. It's like, really? I recall that I enjoyed reading it, but Bookworm Lover said, I just finished reading a romance that had a lady spy. Yeah, I lean much harder into the fantasy and sci-fi direction. Most of my reading, most of my recreational reading is fantasy and sci-fi. Or, you know, paranormal. I like a lot of the sword and sorcery sort of fantasy, but I read a lot that leans more towards sci-fi as well. Bookworm Lover says, in the young adult, there are a nice bunch. Yeah. Yeah, Viber Major. Are we putting you to sleep? Good night, ma'am. I hope you feel better. We'll be thinking about you. Hi, kitty. Meow. There goes the cat. Dork says Minnie is horror, supernatural, paranormal. That's my favorite genre for reading and watching. I have to be careful with the horror. I don't tolerate all of that very well. But it depends. I tolerate it better than I did in my youth. But supernatural, paranormal, fantasy, World of Warcraft is sort of stuff is high up in my favorites. I'm one of the few people in the world, I think, who absolutely loved the Warcraft movie. Bookworm Lover said, "Series of unfortunate events is great even for young adults." Well, I think that was written to be a children's series, wasn't it? Predictable but very interesting spins. Yeah. Now, I have not read those, but I saw the movies of the first one. Dork says, "Mine, not many. I have yet to drink coffee." So, like, I would say, like, with horror, I often enjoy stuff that you would classify as psychological thriller, but horror from a very supernatural direction messes with me. Although not now, see, there have been periods of my life where I've either lived alone or I've been home alone at night, and my imagination doesn't need any encouragement. We'll just say that. Bookworm Lover says, "Read, so worth it." Bauman Maid said, "Megan Sienna something Dowser series is good too." Uncreative says, "Psychological thriller like Silence of the Lambs." Exactly. That kind of stuff. I like that. Bookworm Lover said, "Never good combo." My mate said, "I'm good with horror until it gets into comically gratuitous stuff." But you know, I really, really, really liked. Have any of you guys ever seen that? What was it called? The Evil Dead, the stuff with Bruce Campbell. I liked those, but those are meant to be over the top and silly. Bomba Maid said, "Scare me, don't make me roll my eyes or giggle." Bookworm Lover said, "Home Alone, great working Imagine and Fright book." Well, like I said, my imagination doesn't need the help. My husband went through a phase a couple of years ago where he was watching a lot of like Korean psychological thrillers, but they were very, very, very graphically violent, and I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs. I'll see you later. You know, things like Hostel in the Saw series, no. I did watch the first Saw, but I didn't watch any more after that. And like, you know, I'd be the one at the slumber party that was not a good sport about having pranks played. It's like, no, don't try to scare me. I will not think it's funny. And I will probably never forgive you. And I will probably make you pay for the resulting therapy. Bomb and Maid said, but I also can't watch some of the classic horror. My dad ruined it. He ruined it in what way? Uncreative said, I like the philosophy of confuse, don't abuse for pranks. Yeah, that would work. Bumma Maid said nothing like watching Chainsaw Massacre and having a knit one man go, oh, I wonder what's making that noise. He has a chainsaw. Oh no. Even King's movies, I bet the dog goes nuts. I read the first several Stephen King books when they came out, when I was in high school. And my friends and I passed around Carrie. And we passed around what came after Carrie. The one about the hotel. And then a couple other ones. Salem's Lot. And I was mostly okay, although Salem's Lot, I couldn't look out the window in the dark for a long time. You know, I was probably 17 or 18 when I read that. And probably like 15 or 16 when we read Carrie. And that didn't scare me at all, because it was just weird. The Shining. The Shining scared me. Oh, and then it's not Stephen King, but in college, I read the Amityville Horror. I was alone in my dorm room over a holiday weekend. All my roommates had gone home for the holiday. And Amityville Horror messed me up for a long time. So Stephen King I have to be careful with, although I'm better with them now. Like, you know, I can watch The Shining now. Pet Sematary might have been the worst one for me. But some of his other stuff I really, really like The Stand. I love that. And didn't he write The Green Mile? I have not read that, but I loved the movie. Bomba Maid said, monotone. What the actual hell, Auto Carrot. Birdie Mom says, I love Steven. Bomba Maid said, my dad had the porno mags with some of his earliest serials in them, and not gonna lie, I wonder if he still has them and if they're worth anything. Birdie Mom said, King's writing, but hate his endings. Dork says, The Shining. Yeah, that was a very intense book for me. And like I said, I think I was still in high school when that came out. But now I was probably 14 or 15 when I read The Exorcist. And then I was fine. And a bunch of my friends and I went and saw the movie, and I was fine. The only time I even jumped was where the young priest is in his office listening to recordings of the demon, and his phone rings, and I about had a heart attack. But other than that, I was fine. Dork says, my mom taught me to read using Stephen King books. Holy cow. Bomba Maid said, also the only King book I've read all the way through was on writing. Love most of the movies, though. Yeah, see, and I read those early books before the movies were made. But so, it's like weird. I don't always know what's going to mess with me and what's not. So I spent a lot of my adult life just staying away from horror. Although when I was the manager of a video rental store, I had to watch a lot of them because if somebody brought back a movie and said it didn't work, a DVD or whatever, somebody had to play it and see if it really did what the customer said, because sometimes they just wanted a free movie. And all my employees were teenage girls, and none of them would watch the horror movies. It's like, well, crap, I guess I have to take this one home and watch it. Baba Mate said, I remember an interview where he went to the premiere of Cujo and didn't remember ever having written the book. Well, sometimes the screenplays have little in common because somebody else usually writes a screenplay, and it often doesn't have a lot in common. But he like actually didn't remember writing Cujo. And now I've never read or seen the movie of Cujo. What was the one that Martin Sheen played a politician in the movie? That one I liked, and that didn't mess with me. And the Tommyknockers didn't mess with me. So see, it's like I said, I don't always know what's gonna mess me up and what's not. Lady Peridian says, hi there, hey, how are you doing? I've lurked in your stream several times recently, where I've been up to my eyeballs in something, and so I never stopped to say hi. Baba Maid said, pretty sure he was drugged up for that one. Oh, that could be. And Lady Peridian says, fine, and you? I'm tired. Good other than that. I'm exhausted and about done with this year. And starting to feel like this is the never-ending braid of roving. Or ball of roving. I guess it never has been braided. I just think of roving that way. 4-ounce portion of roving. Dork says, we are a strange family. I'm named after the book by Daphne du Maurier. Rebecca? That rings a bell, and I feel like I should know what that book is. Lady Peridian said, no problem. I don't always get to stop by to see you either. Yeah, it's like I've had so much going on the last month or so. I haven't been able to hit a lot of the streams that I used to always faithfully hang out in. And then a lot of times when I do, it's like I might say hi, but then really don't get to participate. Birding Mom said, I've met several Rebeccas named after that movie. Lady Peridian said, most of the time I just stop by to help with the numbers. Yeah, I tried to do that too. Dork says there is a movie version, but my mom adores the book. Veggie said, I'm behind. I was underwhelmed with The Shining, and Nicholson as a father figure was weird. Well, but that was the whole point. Was he was supposed to be a crappy and abusive father. But yeah. But, you know, I was very young when I read the book. So I didn't watch the movie for a very, very, very long time. Um, Veggie said, I think it was his face. Yeah, I was so messed up by the book that I didn't watch the movie until years and years and years after it came out. So, okay, finished that handful, and it is a little after 1 o'clock. Let's take a break since we've just got another hour, and I'm not sure if my bladder can last another hour. So, Dork said, I always preferred the book over the movie. They miss so much of the rich details in the movies. Yes, almost always. Hey, it's a raid. Well, maybe I won't take a break right now. Kelly Bells is raiding with a party of 4. Hello. Okay, well, I'll keep spinning then. I was going to take a break, but we'll just spin. Hello. Veggie says, what would y'all recommend for starting Stephen King? I keep meaning to read him. I start them and then put them down, LOL. Well, his first one was Carrie. You know, unless you want to see if Bauman Maid's dad still has his old porn magazines with the older serials. It depends on what you like because his stories span a wide range of you know, some of them are just really, really supernaturally creepy. Some deal with weird things that happen because somebody has some sort of a weird psychic skill. Some things are more about people's moral and ethical choices. There's thank you for all the follows, you guys. Thank you very much. Follows are always appreciated. Okay, so we've got votes for several different things. Carrie, or The Stand, or The Shining. Veggie says, gonna look at the smut, LOL. So Bella Maid, looks like Veggie wants to meet your dad and borrow his magazines. If he still has them. Bella Maid said, I never read them, but I don't think it was smut. No, but the magazines were, right? She says, I believe it was his usual horror, but I could be wrong. Veggie says, I only read for the pictures. Okay, I'm still getting used to new glasses and having a hard time reading people's names. Is that Katie Yo? I can't. Says, I'll say start with The Shining. You get the idea of what Stephen is all about. You know, yeah. I think that's probably a good recommendation. I really, really like The Green Mile, but that's not, I don't count that as horror. Because again, it has more to do with someone's very particular psychic skill. But yeah, The Shining is if you like horror that's both supernatural and psychological, The Shining is pretty messed up. Bama Maid said the mags were, but you'd be surprised how many authors get started in those. I think they paid by the word. I think that you're right. Kels Bell says, I really want to read The Shining. And Veggie says, I started Tommy Knockers a while back. I don't know why I put it down. Probably worried about the dog. I don't like when bad things happen to animals. Then don't read not Salem's Lot. Don't read Pet Sematary. And Kels Bell says, I hate to raid and run, but it is way past my bedtime. I can't wait to catch another one of your streams soon. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you so much, and thank you for the raid. And I didn't even take a moment to ask how your raid went and what you were up to. But maybe another time, if we run into each other, maybe I can ask you then. Sorry. But have a good night, and thank you for the raid. Sleep well and get good rest. Birdie Mom says, okay, guys, I'm pouting over here. Please tell me to just suck it up and get on with my sock. Birding Mom, you're such a good friend. And, you know, you love so much to help your friends, you know, with their patterns and test knitting and helping them get everything the way it needs to be. Come on, you can do this. How's that? That wasn't really telling you to suck it up, though. But it was kind of manipulative. Bama May says, or Cujo. I've never read Cujo. I'm not sure why. But, yeah, I think that some little psychic part of my brain just always said, don't read that. Veggie said, I want to read Pet Sematary, though. First World Struggles. Yeah, Pet Sematary messed me up. Kels Bell said it went really well. I was cross-stitching the character Alice from the game Spiritfarer. Very nice. I'm glad that cross-stitching has come back. It was like this huge thing in the 80s, and there were counted cross-stitch stores in every town, and then it just sort of stopped. I did tons and tons and tons of counted cross-stitch when I was in grad school. That's funny. Bauman Maid redeemed channel points to yell at you. As did Veggie Zombie. You guys are cute. Yes, I'm terrible. Well, in real life, I'm not. Although I don't really have anybody to use mom voice at anymore. You know, stepdaughter is like an adult now, and she's actually a great kid. She's been yelled at way too much in her life. Well, posture check. You know what? I'm going to take your posture check and I'm going to raise it to a stretch. How about if somebody redeems some points and sends over a massage therapist? Veggie says raised a downward dog. I wouldn't be able to get back up off the floor. Bowman makes a break. Yes, I should take a break. Take a break and stretch out my hips and knees. And go upstairs and pee. And then that should take about 10 minutes. And then I'll be back. So if anybody has to leave before I get back, thanks for being here, and we'll see you the next time. And all the rest of you, I'll see in probably about 10 minutes. Hello. Geez, I think I moved the spinning wheel, didn't I? Or the camera, one or the other. No, it must have been the spinning wheel. Okay, what did I miss? Okay. Uncreative asks, what pattern are you knitting? Are you doing, Birding Mom? Birding Mom says, I'm a moderator for a designer. And see, I'm reading this out loud, but I'm the only one probably who hasn't already read it. But anyway, I'm a moderator for a designer, and she has a private group, kind of like a Patreon. She came out with a vanilla sock pattern for the group, so I have to knit along so I can help. She just did it in every way I hate to knit a sock. LOL, so I'm being a brat about it. Uncreative said, considering it's a vanilla sock pattern, what's there to hate? Veggie said, oh, no going to miss the hobbitses. No, I caught the end of the hobbitses. Yeah. She says, I mean Naruto. It's hobbitses. Birding Mom said, cuff down, I'm a toe-up girl. DPNs, I knit on circulars. Didn't specify a stretchy cast on. I have big calves, so that won't do. And not my favorite heel. Oh, and I found out about it, and another one in a few weeks at the last minute. Pout, 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 LOL. Uncreative says, oh, geez. And I can do both toe up and cuff down, and I only know how to do like 2 heels. I always gravitate, I can do either top down or toe up, but I always gravitate back to toe up or top down. And I almost always do heel flap and gusset, although I do like the fish lips kiss heel. And I get in a mood and I'll do that one. She says the timing thing sucks, though. Also, I can't knit on double points very well. And double points are my preferred, so I am forcing myself to stretch a little and doing some other methods recently. Train! Bama Maid said, I use long tail for cuff down and leave spaces between stitches. Veggie says, library, why you no have carry on Libby? Guess road trip tomorrow. Veggie says, top down, heel flap, and gusset. Yep, train! Is that the first? I think that's the first train tonight. That's almost 1:30 in the morning. What's up with them? Okay. We've got about a half an hour left. Let's see. Let's see if I can finish this. I thought I was going to finish this, wind it off of this bobbin, and spin the Dorset Polypay. But apparently, I'd be lucky if I finish this one. Veggie says, other one was a ghost train. Was there another one? Because we usually get one like between 11:30 and midnight, seems like. And sometimes we get 2. Uncreative says, I learned toe up to start and really enjoyed that, and learned cuff down for all the fancy patterns that can't really be done toe up. Yeah, I'd been probably knitting socks for 30 years before I heard of any such thing as toe up. Veggie says, I don't know. The train schedule is all off. Uncreative says, how come that blood and winnow are 2 of my favorites that I have to do cuff down. 99% of the socks I knit are vanilla, just because I'm lazy like that. I want to get the socks done now. Although I am thinking about doing a pair of Hermione's, but that may as well be Vanilla. Birding Mom says to Bama Maid, have you ever listened to Sandra Boynton's album Dog Train? It's a great kid album and has a lot for adults hidden in it. Your Ghost Train comment made me think of it. Uncreative says, on the note of vanilla socks, I'm past the heel of my DK socks and it looks good so far. Woohoo! Obama Maid said, that was veggie. See, the two of you are always getting in trouble together. So it's like when your mom has to list down all the names of all the kids until they finally get to the one they want. Yeah, Twinkies. Uncreative said, I was told it's easier to do an afterthought heel, but I was determined to learn how to turn the heels both at the same time. Yeah, I've never done an afterthought heel. Who was working on the Bama Maid? Yeah, Bama Maid's knitting tubes and gonna try some afterthought heels. Birding Mom said, well, that's part of my issue too. I can do my own vanilla sock in my sleep. Why do I need to knit one the hard way? Yeah. Okay, fine, Veggie Mom. So did any of y'all's mom do that thing where she had to go down the whole list of kids before she got to the one she wanted to yell at? Veggie Man. Uncreative says to Birding Mom, it's about stretching and growing your skills. As a knitter, it's really the only reason why I'm learning to knit socks using the DK method. Yeah, you know, I don't want to stretch my brain that far. I did try some double knitting back in the late 80s. So I can say that I've done it. Bama Maid said I'm doing the after. That's what I was thinking. Veggie says by the powers combined. And Birding Mom says, LOL, I used to cycle in the cat and dog names when I yelled at my kids or my ex. My mother-in-law used to do that. Cycle in the dog's name. And they had a dog named Cujo once when my husband was a kid. I'd be like, nope. Uncreative said, even though no one in my life is going to understand why it's impressive on a technical level, but we understand. So we'll be impressed. Veggie said, and now Captain Planet is going to be stuck in my head for a week. Bama Maid said, I call dibs on the Captain Planet tights. With my undies on the outside. Well, what about Captain Underpants? Isn't there a Captain Underpants? Uncreative said, LOL, I remember the first attempt I made. I showed it off in a Discord and internally I'm screaming, validate me! Yeah, well, we'll validate you. I'm impressed. It's like I said, I did it once. I don't want to do it again. I spend way too much time knitting on autopilot to want to do stuff that's that complicated very often. Veggie says it's the only way to wear undies, to be honest. Bama Maid said, y'all, I done messed up. Oh, honey, what did you mess up? Birdie Mom said, my son used to wear his underwear backwards because he wanted to see the picture. LOL. I can't say as I have a problem with that, except that they're not very comfy when they're backwards. Veggie says, oh no! And Uncreative said, the only thing is after I finish this pair of socks, what technique should I learn next? Boy, I don't know. Now, are you looking for a sock idea or just knitting in general? Because if it's just knitting in general, I would ask, have you ever steeked? Because that one still has me a little scared. And I've been knitting longer than many of you have been alive. Bama Maid said, I'm Kirchnering a toe, almost to the end, and my effing stitch count is off. Oh. Uncreative said, I am open to suggestions. Veggie said, tink back carefully. Bama Maid said, gonna fudge it. If I'm at the end and I'm off just a stitch or two, you know what? The socks are for me. I don't care. And I just fudge it. Uncreative said, Bama Maid, do you need chocolate? Hey, I've got a ginormous bag of Dove milk chocolates here. Just shove one through the microphone. I wonder if you'd get it. Uncreative says, just knitting in general. I'm going to say that if you have never done a steek, try doing something with a steek. And it can be small. You know, it doesn't have to be a sweater. There is apparently a pattern out there for a coffee mug cozy that is steeked. And one of these days I'm going to try it. Veggie said, it can be done. Be one with the Kitchener. You know what? I think I say that wrong. I always call it Kirchner, and I don't think that's right. Kirchner is a city in Ontario, not a method of grafting your toe closed. Birding Mom says, fudge, 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 the only way to knit. That's right. If it's not going to be obvious to anybody but me, then fudge, fudge, fudge. Uncreative said, oh yeah, I've steeked. My last big project was a colorwork blanket that was a blanket. So did you knit it as a tube and then open it up? I've never heard of steeking a blanket. That sounds interesting. Okay, well. Because I think that steeking is my last thing, the last thing on my list of knitting challenges that I have put off for years. Veggie says, group, cover bombing in chocolate. Mug steeking? That's fancy. Yeah. So it's this lovely Fair Isle knit mug cozy. Well, that you knit in a tube and then you go ahead and cut it open and knit like plackets or whatever. Button band on both sides, and so you can button it closed, leaving room for the mug handle to stick through. So yeah, you cut open a perfectly good tube. Uncreative said, yeah, knit as a tube and opened up. It's for color work. I've also done it for a sweater. Yeah, because it's really, really hard to knit back and forth for color work. You really, like, Fair Isle is best done in the round. Veggie says, oh cool, you can knit it in the round then. Bama Maid said, nobody will notice. Also, sorry, but Dove chocolate is every once in a while I get a hankering for Dove chocolate. And I know, it's very American chocolate. They should stick to soap and deodorant. I don't think it's the same company. Or is it? No, I think Dove chocolate is a different company. Or at least that's a conclusion I've always jumped to. But yeah, I'm a wuss. I like American chocolate. Hershey bar. Hershey bar is my favorite chocolate. Honey Bunny prefers dark chocolate, and I am just as happy to let him have all the dark chocolate. Mama Maid said that's what the chocolate tastes like to me. So if it's not twins, they're close sisters. Veggie said dark chocolate is good. Less deodorant aftertaste. I don't know, runs away with dark chocolate. I think it's the bitterness. I'm a super taster. And so I don't care for things that are bitter. I have like weird enzymes or something. Uncreative says, LOL, Dove Chocolate and the deodorant company are two different companies owned by two different parent companies. That's what I thought. Mama Maid said, don't get me wrong, I like cheap chocolate. Dove just tastes funky to me. Well, it's got this like amazing creaminess that's kind of weird. Like, that's not really how it feels when cocoa butter melts in your mouth. But every once in a while, it sounds really good. And we were at the store yesterday, and Richard said, why don't you pick out some candy if you want some candy? It's like, I haven't had candy in a long time. And I was like, oh, how about these? Uncreative says, although the logos are really freaking close, the swoosh on the D is just a different direction. Mama Maid said, kissing cousins then. Yeah, Veggie said, yikes. Uncreative says, so any more suggestions for what I should learn to do next for knitting? I already tried lace, and I cannot for the life of me knit lace. You know what? It's so late I didn't even notice, and I'm getting used to new glasses, and I haven't figured out how far away I have to sit from the monitor yet. Mama Maid says, alrighty, I need to head to bed. Yeah, well, I've got about 15 minutes left, I think. So yeah, I'm not surprised people are winding down. Yeah, Uncreative, I'm racking my brain. Have you done brioche? And Veggie says, good night, Mama Maid. Yeah, good night, Mama Maid. Sleep well. Sleep well, get good rest. Thank you for hanging out with us. Okay, well, maybe that would be something to try. Have you done a shawl in the round? Like a Elizabeth Zimmerman pie shawl? Pie as in 3-point whatever the heck that is. Birding Mom said, so uncreative, either mosaic knitting or brioche. And Mama May said, I stayed up late to finish the toe and messed that up. Yeah, I've been trying to get to bed earlier than usual to read, but I don't get to bed any earlier than usual, so I stay awake and read anyway. Because I want to get through this book and start on the next one, so I know what everybody's talking about. Uncreative said, I haven't done pie shawls. I haven't yet either, and I've always meant to. One of these days. Birding Mom says, or a shawl with a mix of texture and some lace. And a possibility for that could be the Faraway So Close shawl by Karina Spencer. The pattern has been around for a while, and it's done on worsted weight yarn, but the extent of the lace is rows of drop stitch in a couple of places and yarn overs in a couple of places, and then there's a variety of textures. And it's a pretty shawl, and it was a satisfying knit, and it's very snuggly and cozy because it's not, gossamer and lacy. It's like a snuggle up. It was meant. The first one she knit for a friend who lived far away who was going through a rough patch, and she knit it for her to send her comfort. Veggie says, oh, the Even Star shawl. I have that in my favorites. I think I might have that in my library. I have thought that I would do that at some point. But she also said that she struggled with lace. Yeah, I forgot about the Even Star. I need to do that. How many yards does that take? About 1,500 yards. Of lace weight yarn. I have undyed lace weight yarn. Oh, look, and somebody made it into a dress. So oh, I have a message on Ravelry. From Birding Mom on September 2nd. Thank you, Birding Mom. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I'll download that after stream instead of ignoring you guys. Hey, Grandma. How are you tonight? Okay, let's see. Where were we? Dork said, I'm spinning the yarn to knit an Even Star shawl right now. You're spinning lace weight? I'm impressed. I can't wait to see. Bellman Maid said, Fox Paws. Go for Fox Paws. Bellman Maid, I thought you were going to bed. You're faking us out. And Uncreative said, oh, that's pretty. I like cables that look like Celtic knotwork. Oh, apparently that's already in my library. Shows you how much attention I'm paying these days. Uncreative said this is in my queue. Yeah, that's really pretty. Veggie says, oh, duh. Brain. Uncreative says, I'm also tempted to try Entrelock again. I thought that was really fun. A million years ago, there was a pair of socks on the cover of Spin-Off. There were Entrelock. And so, of course, I had to try that. Veggie said, I wanted to spin for Ren Fair. Yeah, if we ever have another Ren Fair. Veggie says, look, it's Grandma. And Mama Maid said, so did I. And Creative says, great minds think alike. Bookworm said, I'm heading that way too. Good night. Your spool is definitely full. Yeah, I'm still not done. So yeah, it's filling up pretty full. Looking forward to learning cables. Yay! I love cables. Mama Maid said, actually going to bed now, but Fox Paws is on my bucket list to dye fiber spin and then knit for. Bookworm says, I'm so close to having my Entrelike blanket done. Just the border. Very cool. Veggie says, "Good night, bookworm. Yay, cables are fun." Yeah, everybody that's leaving, well, we've only got about 10 more minutes. So, everybody that's leaving, good night. Sleep well, get good rest. See how much more of this I can get spun in 10 minutes. Bookworm says, "I plan on making a hat scarf with pockets, have cables." That sounds like fun. Uncreative says, "Does anyone remember the Tech Knitter blog at all? I'm going through her index right now." Boy, that rings a bell. Birding Mom says, "I'll stick it out to the end." So, anyways, hey there, Grandma. How are you doing tonight? You don't have to answer if you're in lurk mode. That's fine. But I wanted to say hi. Uncreative said, techknitting.blogspot.com. Whoops. No, I didn't want to click on the music. I wanted to click on the link. Boy, I used to follow a ton of knitting and weaving blogs, and it's been a long time since I even thought about blogs. Bookworm says, "All right, night. So same time tomorrow." Nope. I take Friday and Saturday off. I'll be back Sunday night at the same time. Sunday night through Thursday night. Although Thursday night's a little shorter because I have to get up Friday morning for work. Uncreative says I should probably go to bed as well. Well, so good night, all you guys that are leaving. Veggie says it's the dark period. Yes, yes, it is. But I need a couple of evenings a week. Well, besides the fact that I have to get up early those mornings. Early for me, 9 o'clock. I also need a couple of evenings I can actually get anything done other than spinning or knitting. Like canning green beans. Birdie Mom says, yes, we get withdrawals on Friday and Saturday. I'm sorry. You guys could hang out in the Discord and give each other shit and stuff. Bookworm says, the moon is calling me with its siren song. Veggie says, pretty. I feel the same. Apparently, we all got tired. Yeah, I'm not sure that there's going to be any reading tonight. Pretty sure it's going to be all I can do to make it to bed. Birdie Mom said we are all still being called by the moon, lol. That must be it. What phase are we in? Anybody know? Veggie said, looking at this Karina Spencer pattern and yarns my mom might like. The Far Away So Close. I love that. That's the one that I knit out of that Malabrigo handspun that I spun that my friend gave me all the roving for. It was not very fun to spin, to be absolutely honest, but the yarn and the shawl are so squishy and comfy. It's wonderful. I have also knit her Zuzu's Petals cowl that looks like it's like comes down to a V in the front, so it looks like a shawlette. I love that one too. Veggie said, and thinking of that lunar spine shawl. Well, now you've got me thinking of that Even Star. I saved that in my library years ago. Yes. Yes, the Even Star. I have always wanted to knit a circular shawl and I never have. I've done half circles and I've done triangles and I've done stoles or, rectangular shawls. Birdie Mom says waning crescent tonight. Okay. I like when the moon's at crescent. I just think that's so pretty. Veggie says all the knits. Yep. And Veggie said tacos? Where? What tacos? Did I miss tacos? Okay, my computer says it's 2:01 and I have just a little bit of fluff left in my hand, so I am going to finish this and hopefully nobody will raid us in the next few minutes. Because that seems to be the thing lately. Taco Moon, okay. Alrighty. We're done. So much for finishing this, winding it off, and spinning the whatchamathingy stuff that I just got today. Okay, you guys want to raid? Who is on? Well, where the heck are all of our peoples that we usually raid? It seems like there are people missing lately. People I used to always see on when I was looking for people to raid. Well, I'm going to go to bed. Are all y'all just going to go to bed? Birding Mom said, no, I'm out. Good night, all. Good night, Birding Mom. Veggie says bedtime. And the lurkers didn't speak up. So, okay, well, let's just say goodnight tonight then, again. And, I got stuff in the way of my keyboard. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for being part of my little community here. And you guys are awesome. And I love you all. And I will miss you over the weekend. And unless I catch any of you streaming, which sometimes happens. And I'll be back Sunday night, about 11 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S., barring any unforeseen circumstances. Like zombie apocalypses and things like that. So, okay, everybody have a good night. Unless it's daytime where you are, then have a good day. Veggie says, don't cry, I'll cry. Yeah, and you guys, it's not that uncommon for you guys to make me cry. Zombies! I forgot what I was going to say now. Okay, anyways, sleep well, get good rest, have a great weekend, and I may see some of you around in other streams. And if I don't, I'll see you Sunday night. Good night.